Today's lesson is on the distributive property. And when we're completing the distributive property, what we're doing is we're taking what's inside the parentheses and we're multiplying it by what's outside the parentheses. Okay? So, a couple things you need to remember when you're using the distributive property with integers and we're getting positives and negatives in there is that we're always going to take the symbol that's in front of the number or the variable. And we're going to use that positive or negative symbol in our multiplication. Okay? So if we look at our number one, first one here, we have 7 times x plus y. There's nothing in front of that 7, so because there's nothing in front of it, we know that's a positive 7. So it's going to be a positive 7, and we're going to multiply it by each item inside the parentheses. So I'm drawing little lines there just to remind myself. So I have 7, and I'm going to multiply that by x. Now there's nothing in front of the x, so I know it's positive also. So 7 times x gives me an answer of 7x. Positive times a positive is a positive. Then I'm going to do positive 7 times positive y. I'm going to include that positive symbol with that y, whatever's in front of it, that plus symbol. So 7 times y is going to be 7y. Now, because 7y is also positive, I'm going to put a plus symbol in there. So my final answer is 7x plus 7y. Alright. Number 2, 3 is positive, so every time I multiply it, I'm going to multiply it positive times whatever the other number is. So 3 times 3x is also positive, so 3 times 3 is 9, so 9x. I'm going to do 3 times 4y. Notice how it's positive also, so my answer is going to be positive, is 12y. 3 times 4 is 12. Go on to number 3. We have negative 4. So again, now I'm going to make sure I include that negative, that minus symbol there. It's a negative. So negative 4 times 2x. So negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. So negative 8x. I'm going to do negative 4 times, and I'm not just going to do 3y, I'm going to do negative 3y, because I'm going to take that subtraction symbol and use that as a negative. So negative 4 times negative 3 is a plus or positive 12, so 12y. Number 4, negative 5 times x. And the reason I'm combining them, my x and my number, if you think about how many x's are actually here, because there's no number in front of them, there's actually 1 there. So I'm technically doing negative 5 times 1. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, and then I attach my x. So negative 5x. I'm going to do negative 5 times, make sure I include the symbol in front, a negative 3. So negative 5 times negative 3 is a plus 15y. Number 5, we have negative 4 times 2x. So negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And then I'm doing negative 4 times 3y. Notice how I have a positive or a plus 3y this time. So instead of having that, the one above it, it's negative times a negative, I'm doing a negative times a positive, which means my answer is going to be a negative. So I'm going to put a minus symbol there. So 4 times 3 is y, so 12y. And lastly, we have a negative times 4x minus 3y. Now this negative right here, just like with a variable like x, how there's nothing with it, that negative is actually the same thing as negative 1. So I'm going to write in a 1 there just to make it easier for me to work with. So negative 1 times 4 would be negative 4x. And then negative 1 times negative 3y is going to be a positive 3y. Negative times a negative is my positive, so plus 3y. Alright, so you have some problems for you to try. There's about 10 of them here for you. Alright, so go ahead and try those. If you're unsure about what you're doing here and you want to try a couple and then check to see what I did, feel free, and then you can go back and try the rest of them. Let's go ahead now. Hopefully you paused and tried all these, and we'll have you check your answers. So number 1, you should have gotten 21x minus 28y. Number 2, negative 24x plus 32y. Number 3, negative 20x minus 25y. Number 4, 6x plus 3y. Number 5, we have negative 30x minus 70y. And number 6, here's that negative symbol. You need to make sure you put a 1 in front of it. It will be negative 8x minus 5y. Number 7, negative 4x minus 4y. Number 8, negative 56x minus 56y. Number 9, 12x plus 6y. And then we have number 10, negative 4x plus 12y. Now notice how in all of these I do not have a minus or a plus and negative. If I ever have a plus and negative, it's the same thing as subtraction, so I want to make sure I include that in there. So there should only be one symbol between your two terms, either addition or subtraction. You should not have any plus negatives or minus negatives.